Well, welcome, guys, back to your Own Your Health podcast. And we have Dr. Beverly Jensen with us. Hello, Dr. Beverly Jensen, and introduce yourself and where you are today.
Um, yes, the name is Beverly Jensen. I am not a doctor as in a physician, but PhD, and that's sort of a license to do research. And that's what I've done. My field has been communication, strategic communication, primarily for public health and also education and environmental issues.
Wow, that is a
So,
wide range of different things. What are you researching right now?
well, actually, they're all related.
Yes, but what are you researching
Pardon?
now in your day-to-day life that inspires you to do whatever you do?
My primary concern is the general public's lack of understanding of the effects of EMF on our health. And so
What is EMF?
I have electromagnetic
Gotcha.
frequencies.
For people that don't know.
I prefer to call it, yes, I prefer to call it EMR because it is magnetic radiation, which is the real problem. And this is from all the wireless devices and the electronics in our lives today.
So
This is
let's
the cause.
delve into that. So we are now at 5G today in today's world of technology, correct?
Well, I hope it's not too correct. I mean, they're rolling it out, but
Okay.
it's really not going as fast and as they wanted it
Well,
to.
right.
Yeah,
I've
it's more degrees of
okay.
4G.
So I've seen less birds, less insects,
Yeah,
a profound difference in ground animals, whether it be rodents, dogs, cats, you name it. And
yeah,
I live in
yeah.
Philadelphia, but um, I am trying to buy myself a ranch out in Tennessee, and a lot of people are saying that they haven't seen foxes or they haven't seen the usual suspects as in predators wherever they are. It
Yeah.
can be Roman cats, it can be foxes, it can be wild hogs. All of that is having a profound difference on our own well being. So, what are the things that you are
Wow.
looking into that's affecting us?
Well, this this satellite communications is affecting all of us, and I mean all life on the
Uh
planet,
huh.
and that means all the wildlife. It's like we had a bathroom window with no screen on it for years, and over the last 15 years, I only visit in the summers. Every year there were fewer insects coming through that window towards the nightlight, uh, and it was been an unintentional measurement of the condition of the world of insects, and they're very important to us. I mean, it's insects that help enrich the soil and make it fertile for us to grow our food, not to mention the bees and the birds, which are the pollinators. They pollinate about a third of our food crops. And yeah, so every summer there were fewer insects coming through the window to the point where there was maybe one a night would come in, and there was a, when they turned on uh, cell towers on this one particular valley in Germany about just a few years ago, the, it caused the death of 250,000 of birds. That's what was counted in this particular valley in Germany. So it's having a very bad effect, and it's also affecting life in the oceans, the animals in the oceans. So what I'm trying to do, what I am doing, is just making particularly moms and parents aware of how to protect the children, because they are most vulnerable, and they are the most, after all the animals and critters in our world, the children are the most unsuspecting. You know, there's nothing they can do about
Right.
this. So it's up to the parents, and I'm finding that it's, you know, women have forever made all the family's health
Correct.
decisions. You know, usually the man of the house was taken off to the doctor by the scruff of his neck,
Yep. Okay,
and
yep. That's what I don't need
at
to
the
see
insistence of the woman.
a And he next day dies.
Is somebody in your background agreeing with
Yep.
me? Yeah. Yeah, so they've made all the health decisions. They tell the partner, the husband, when he's going to the doctor, or, you know, there's an ambulance called.
Right.
Anyway, so it's going to be moms who rein in this technology. And so I'm reaching out to them. My goal is to engage 10 million women, 10 million moms, and then grandmas and grandpas and dads also. There's been studies of social movements, and what does it take to make a social movement successful? And excellent example is MAD, Mothers Against Drunken
I remember
Driving.
that.
And they found, yeah, remember when it was used to be real common and popular for offices to have Christmas parties and everybody got bombed, and then they'd drive home and it was a catastrophe. Anyway, when they found in the study of social movements that when it's now 3.5% of the population changes their beliefs and changes their behavior, that just 3.5% will cause a shift in the culture, and laws will change. So my goal is to engage 10 million moms in this, and I don't think it's going to be hard at all, because the parents are becoming aware, and there's now lawsuits going on, just starting, against the platforms that Meta did not tell parents, tell the public what would be the effect of children, particularly on these platforms, and the mental health the problems that it's causing. And school districts are even engaging in these lawsuits, because the schools have got care and the well-being of the children many hours of the week, and they're spending an exorbitant amount of their resources on the mental health of the children. So I don't think it's going to be hard to get 10 million moms on this in this program.
So
What's new is that the public just has not been told about the effects of this on our physical health and on our mental health. So that's an
I
issue.
just listened to a podcast. A 28-year-old young woman who moved out of her parents' home had a panic attack, panic attack at 21, and she became a hermit for the next 5 years. Heavily medicated on drugs. Goes on events kind of like this, but then feels depressed after the fact when the event ends. Is our use of social media instead of the old fashioned way of going to a church or going to a community event or at dance hall, kind of when you were young? Because that's what you guys did. You danced, drank, and smoked.
Yeah,
But that, I mean, and that's not a generalization, but I mean, you did stuff physically with the community at large.
yeah.
Now we're all stuck on our phone, isolated in our own silo, and we're not reaching out. And women are having a hard time finding men who they want to marry. It appears to me that a lot of young women are reaching at the 5% of the top of the food chain, and then the rest of the 95% of the males are stuck with nothing, because that's how social media puts it. How is social media affecting our lives other than the 5G? And that's affecting us because we're always in it.
Yeah. Um, I learned fairly recently that if you, when men and women are trying to meet, if they don't meet on an app and they actually meet in real life, it's called meeting in the wild. I thought that was hilarious.
Wow.
You might know that term, meeting in the wild, and that was the normal, and I think it was until the last 15 years, and I think it was actually more successful because there is a certain chemistry and energy about people that make a difference on whether or not you're going to be attracted to them. You know, it doesn't have to. It's not about their
Right.
face. So, so these activities of just swiping right doesn't help.
No?
It's complex.
So, what other
No, I
things
don't
are
think
you
so.
into researching wise?
Um, I'm now closely watching these legal activities, and am advising moms to spend 2 minutes to call this one organization. It's called the National Call. Let me back up a minute. I belong to a group of activists around EMF, and it's primarily lawyers. And one in the last call we had, an attorney whose whole practice is representing cities in lawsuits against telecom, and trying to just control them. He said that he has very good success in the cities winning the cases, but he said, I can only take these cases to court, and our position depends on the laws. And he said, it's you, the public, the citizens, who are going to impact or going to affect the legislators in Washington who create the laws. So there was two people in the call and in the group that are organizers of citizens to get them to participate in this process, because right now there is a bill before Congress that would take away all local control of telecom's location and the number of towers they can put up and where they can put them up. They could put up one on the street, 5 feet from your bedroom window, and there will be no recourse. The cities and the citizens' participation in the decisions of where and how many cell towers are going to be erected. This bill, it's House number 2289, would stop that. There would be no consideration of environmental issues, historical issues, health. They try to pretend that there's no health issues at all. But anyway, I encourage the moms to sign up for that program, that website, and the website will tell you the bill number, what's the consequence of it, and give you a script, and you can find out who is your representative or your senator and their phone number. And it takes 2 minutes, but it is only the citizens who are going to rein in telecom. The FCC, it has been the term was coined by a public health professor at Harvard, captured agency. Since the FCC was put in charge of telecom, it has forever been controlled by, managed by, and influenced by the industry. So they're still using the standards that were set in 1986, and so it's only going to be through the public's participation in the laws, and we'll have to change our behavior and protect ourselves, because the government is not doing it.
Oh, I agree.
There's actually since Secretary Kennedy is now in charge of health, he's going to have the FDA look into this, because 3 times the FCC has been told by 2 courts and by a government office to go back and look at the research, to re-examine the standards for the limits on the radiation levels, and they've never done it. It's never happened. So it's now the FDA is going to do an investigation, but yeah, it's only the public that's going to and can immediately change their behaviors, become aware of the problem, and make some changes.
Yeah, the only fortunate problem today is that you need to be a lobbyist to change Congress.
Well, that's not the case. When you organize the public to make the calls, we individually, you and I, don't have to be lobbyists in Washington. And this woman in New York, and I know her name just flew out.
It happens to me all the time.
She's the lobbyist who goes to D.C. But it takes our phone calls to influence the senators and the representatives in Congress. So we don't personally have to go to Washington. That's not possible.
Can you imagine if the whole country went to Washington?
It does happen occasionally. We have the Million Man March, and I remember back in 2014 there was one huge march of moms. So it does happen, but that doesn't happen regularly.
Wow. So, how is the radiation affecting us? I know a lot of kids are autistic these days. I didn't know if that was a part of it.
That's an influencing factor for sure. The most common impact is sleep problems. About 70 million Americans are having sleep issues. Severe headaches is another one. Tinnitus, ringing in the ears.
I have that. Mm-hmm.
That's a problem. Um, then there's also just fatigue. If I'm in a neighborhood with heavy number of towers and routers around me, I sort of wilt after about 4 hours, and as I drive out of that neighborhood, I recover.
Oh,
So it's clearly being caused by all the radiation in the neighborhood. Yeah. Fatigue, depression, and anxiety. This has been particularly noticed in the children, but it happens to all ages. Just becoming anxious or depressed. Yeah, that's another areas. With the children, it's even more critical because their skulls are thinner than grown-ups,
okay.
adults. Their nervous systems are just evolving, just developing, and so they're much more heavily impacted. The brain developed is impact. I think we need to go back to the beginning of this conversation. We are all electrical
Yes.
beings. Every activity in our body is directed by electrical impulses from the heart or the brain. And so any logical thinking person would understand that these man-made frequencies are impacting us, are affecting us. Then the second part of what I want everyone to understand is that this is what my dad taught me. And he was an engineer who was developing this satellite communication technology for the U.S. Army Signal Corps. And every time I would want to go into his workshop, and the tools in his workshop were a Geiger counter and an oscilloscope. He was measuring radiation. And every time I would want to step in and visit, he would warn me, if a device sends radio signals and receives radio signals, it's dangerous. Stay back, keep it off. And the family, we were living in Okinawa. The only way we could communicate in the 1960s with the family in the U.S. was via ham radio. And a ham radio is one of those devices also that sends radio signals and receives radio signals. So we had short conversations, but it was one way to have some communication with the family. If we keep in mind that we are electrical beings, and that every device that sends radio signals and receives radio signals is radioactive, in other words, emitting radiation, almost everybody understands that radiation is
Yes.
harmful. So we need to stay back from the devices and keep them off.
Well, tell me about your dad. What did he do or discover in his creation of satellite technology when you were a kid?
He was, like I said, he was developing the technology, and all I remember is that there was a time in the early part of the NASA space program, and I think there was only one astronaut in this satellite, had to make an emergency landing near where we lived in Okinawa. It dropped down in the Pacific, and my dad was engaged in that rescue. Beyond that, I don't know, what it was that he was doing, except that he was developing this. I talked to him, about 3 years ago, just a few weeks before he would die. And he said, I told him what I was doing with this campaign, and he said that the telecom tried to convince the engineers that there was no radiation and health effects. And I said, yeah, I know. They've been telling that. They said it to all the Motorola engineers, many of whom died. And for 21 years, Motorola engineers had a lawsuit against the company. And finally, just a couple of years ago, it came up to the courts. And the judge, I don't know why he would do this. This was not how you conduct an investigation in a court case. But he would not let any of the experts on that were not telecom people talk to the court. So the case was thrown out. This is after, and most of the men who brought forth this lawsuit have since passed from cancer. All of them had cancer.
Of mine.
Continue this movement.
I am doing 3 and 4 podcasts a week for it's been 3 months now, and increasing the social media activity. And I'm also connecting with the parent groups that are organizing now to rein this in, to get the kids off of the devices. There's some groups that have organized on social media, of course. There's some irony in this, but this is the only way they reach each other. And there's some real benefits to this too if we just manage it better. But there's a group. The last number I heard was over 100,000 people, parents, who it's called Wait Until 8th. That's 8th grade, so that children are not being given cell phones earlier or tablets. I mean, yes, they're going to be using these devices in the schools, but they're not going to have it in their bedrooms at night, and it's not going to be their way of social activity.
If you have your electronic device for 8 hours a day for half a year, how are you going to regulate a child to not use it after
if the children are older, then there has to be family discussions on how we're going to manage this. I recommend setting up a communications center inside the front door where everybody puts their phones when they come in the house, and so that people are not walking around the house with cell phones. I mean, it until the last 10 years, we never had to be available 24/7, and this is untenable. It's not healthy. It's absolutely not necessary. We need to rethink how we're connecting with each other. So anyway, parents need to. There's 2 very good films, documentaries about this. One's called Generation Zapped, and the other is actually produced by Netflix called The Social Media Dilemma. And these are programs that parents of children who are in their teens should watch with the kids, and then discuss how the family is going to change their behaviors. If the children are younger, the parents can just be parents, claim their authority, and not allow them to have devices until probably high school. Now, countries are changing laws that prohibit children under age 16 to be on social media. This happened in Australia last month and last week in Spain, and it's being discussed in other countries too. So the governments are stepping in because this is having such a disruptive effect on society. But in the younger children, parents need to just take their authority and make decisions on when what ages the children will have this, any of this, and when.
Remember the times when I would my house, and then I would get like someone like you, hey, can I have 20? Can you play? I would have to talk to you and be able to say, hello, Dr. Jensen. Can I speak with Johnny today? Would love to.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Hope it works. Okay, well, take care.
Have a good day. Bye.
Thank you.